welcome back to another edition of Tonight's Watch. We are your host, Geoff.
I'm Ron.
And today we are talking about Game of Thrones Season 6. Was today Episode 6, right?
Yes. Blood of my blood.
Blood of my blood. All right. Well, if you are just now joining us for the first time, what we do every Sunday night is give a quick couple of minutes spoiler-free recap of the current episode, and then we delve into full spoiler territory, making sure to give you fair warning. So with that, Ron, what were your spoiler-free thoughts on tonight's episode?
If you were going to miss an episode, this is definitely not one of them to miss. Last week's had some shocking stuff happening, but this week's is all set up for the remainder of the season as far as I could tell.
I think next week's is going to be absolute batshit because, like you were saying, this entire episode felt really similar to me and how last season felt. How it was pretty much 110% set up for future events.
Yeah,
and I'm really excited for next week's episode.
I'm wondering.
Not to say this one was bad. I mean, it's Game of Thrones. It's always good. It's just it is pure setup.
Yeah, I'm almost wondering if our hard home basically for this season isn't the next episode and it spans 2 episodes.
I have a feeling too. Once shit hits the fan this season, it's going to be there for a while, a lot longer than what we usually get.
Yeah,
I think that's a good call.
Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, you would not have wanted to miss last week's or this one. Any of the others so far, you should never miss Game of Thrones. But if you had to, these two were not either one of them to miss.
Yeah, and I think right now we're going to warn you about full spoilers territory, so please come back after you finish the episode. And let's get started with the usual format we do. We basically go play-by-play throughout the week's episode. So we start off tonight's episode with Bran. He is with Mira. She's dragging him basically after the Hold the Door event, and she is basically struggling just to get him anywhere because, I mean, that fucking thing, that sled he's on, looks like ginormous.
Well, I mean, never mind the fact that there's a full-grown adult man on it, and then...
I know, Bran is clearly a 45-year-old adult now.
Right. And then, the weight of that sled alone, I mean, just the materials it's made out of, the size of it, I mean, you need Hodor to drag the thing.
It was Hodor-sized. And by the way, I was watching the recap before the episode. I was like, don't show it again. Don't do it. Do
you know what was even...
And then Hold the Door happens, and I immediately break down again.
Do you know what was even worse than it being in the recap? The screen goes black at the end of the end cap, and you get one last Hodor. Like, fuck you, Game of Thrones.
But yeah, basically, while she is dragging him, Bran is still in hardcore warg mode. He is still trying to process all that the Three-Eyed Raven was trying to download into his brain. So he is basically flashing back all over the damn place. Like, you see a little bit of Hard Home. You see stuff with his dad, both as an adult.
You get to see
getting beheaded.
You get to see something that you've been wanting to see.
Yeah, and that was one of my notes. Like, we talked earlier in the season about possibly one of his flashbacks being the Kingslayer thing, and it fucking like straight up was. I thought that was really cool how they showed that. Yeah,
I was pretty surprised to see it in there. I mean, it makes sense that it was in there, but I was still kind of surprised to see it.
First time they've shown and actually had to cast Aerys, who is he? He would be the father of Khaleesi and her brother, right?
I believe so.
I believe so. Well, I will be corrected by the X-Force if we're wrong.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I really like that. They had some really, really slick editing going on while they were cutting through all those flashbacks, I thought.
That looked like a nightmare to put together. It was really well done.
Yeah, it was. And then while she was dragging him, I actually really liked the Mira actress. After she basically can't carry him any longer,
when she fell into despair.
Her breakdown was very, very convincing. I thought she did a great job in that scene.
Yeah, that was one of the notes I actually put down also. Let's talk about the Black Rider for a second.
Okay, first of all, fire flail, completely fucking metal. That was amazing. I love the action sequences they had with him using that freaking thing. And first of all, everyone in The Walking Dead needs a fire flail because apparently you are a god once you get one.
I mean, it makes sense. They're dead, right? They'd go up like wicker.
Yeah.
I mean,
now I have a question for you, Ron.
Okay.
Did you know immediately when they showed him who it was?
I suspected. I didn't know, but I suspected.
I was about 95% sure who it was, and I actually do have criticism for that.
Okay.
I think either because they had his face kind of covered, but to me, since they weren't going to officially reveal it or have them react to it till later on in the episode, he should have just been completely masked. I actually thought that was kind of poorly done.
I disagree, but I don't know. I'm happy to see him again because I liked him in season 1.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah, my criticism isn't really for that. My criticism is I do not like it when the viewer is ahead of the characters. And later on, they basically have the whole brand kind of reacting to it. And it's just like, well, you already kind of figured that out like 45 minutes ahead of this. So I thought it was kind of anticlimactic. That's really my real first criticism I've had of this season so far is actually I have some problems actually with Bran in this episode.
Do you?
I actually thought Bran's reaction to all the events of the last episode were really, really poorly done. And basically, why I feel that way is because he pretty much has no emotional reaction to getting all of them killed last episode, especially Hodor.
To be fair, he just had all of the world's history rammed into his brain, like moments before.
Well, also, to be fair, Hodor has been basically like his best friend his entire life, and for him to have just been the reason for him not only being the way he was but also dying, I thought he had no emotional response to it at all, especially it was his fault.
Yeah. I mean, I see where you're coming from, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm kind of on the side of benefit of the doubt thing because, like I said, I'm surprised he could even talk, let alone
yeah, it's a good point. I just would have
anything.
liked maybe like one line of dialogue showing that he was remorseful for getting Hodor killed, because that ending of the last episode was like devastating, and it didn't feel as devastating to the characters as it was for the fans, which is kind of a disappointment for me. I wanted like even like one line like let's say Mira, you know, when she's basically breaking down and next to him, like one line where she could have basically said something like, you know, if we don't get a move on, you know, we're not going to make it. And then maybe him just say like one line of like, maybe I don't deserve to, or something. Yeah. I would have liked some fallout from the Hodor thing when I don't think we got any in this episode.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, like I said, my take on it is he's had all of the world's history rammed into his brain, and then he just found out someone that he thought was dead years ago is not dead. So, but no, I mean, I see where you're coming from, and I'm not defending the show either. I'm just because I mean, it is kind of odd with how just on the nose their writing is all the time, and they love to do those emotional responses that they didn't take the opportunity.
Yeah, it's like
you know, from a show standpoint, from a show standpoint, I see it that way. From the writing standpoint, I'm with you.
Yeah, that's really this was the second episode thus far this season where Benioff and Weiss, the showrunners, were not writing it. And this was actually an episode I think I would have liked to have seen them tackle.
Yeah.
Because like you remember like early on in the season, like they're so good. You even have, you know, kind of an emotional response with like Snow and Ghost, like even the dire wolf.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It struck me as odd. It almost was like
you also don't know what's coming. There could be a reason why they didn't focus
kind
on
of
this.
Like the writer of this episode, I believe it was Brian Cogman. It was almost like he didn't realize how big of a deal that Hodor thing was going to be. Because I mean, like you cannot throw a rock without hitting a Hodor meme right now. You know.
Yeah.
It just struck me as odd. No, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just I would have liked, because it's such a good cautionary tale to me of disrespecting your powers and getting people you love hurt, and there was no payoff to that for me yet. I'm not criticizing the season. I'm criticizing this episode for that.
Yeah.
That's basically my issue.
Yeah, no, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. Did you have anything else to talk about the first scene with Bran?
No, I didn't really have anything to say other than the Black Rider action scene was pretty cool. But, so like I said, speaking of criticism, let's get to Sam and Gilly.
Why don't you start us off on that one?
So the scene opens with them in horse-drawn carriage, and Gilly's mind is basically being blown. Like, she even has the line that she's never seen so much green and all that. And then you had the awesome line of "You're a nervous talker," because he just started talking like crazy. And then after that, he shuts up. And then she said, "What was it?" She said, "Nervous silence isn't
any better being a nervous mute."
Yeah, nervous mute. That's it. Yeah, I laughed pretty good at that, actually. But yeah, so we got to meet Sam's mom and his sister first. And then when he asked where his dad was, like, he was off on a hunt because his return home isn't a big enough deal for him to stay home.
And now here's a question. Have they ever previously established that Sam was from like a wealthy family? I'd never really gotten that impression before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He talks about being forced to give up his title and his name and all that stuff in season 1.
I remember it was weird. Like, I remembered that being brought up before, but like when you see that zoomed out shot of like his family's fucking castle, like I wasn't expecting them to be like. And this is a bit of a, maybe getting too far ahead of ourselves, but like their family even has a Valyrian steel sword. I never got that impression from his family.
Well, Game of Thrones being Game of Thrones, you're either fucking rich and powerful or you're not. So I kind of took it that way. I didn't see them as like the Lannister household, but I figured it would be kind of something like that. I was still shocked though when you saw the shot of the castle, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
But I love the way this show can make an awkward dinner even more like awkward. Because we had one, was it last episode? We had the awkward dinner at Castle Black. And then we had the awkward dinner this time at the Tarly residence. And finally met his dad and his brother, but his dad is even more of an asshole than you were led to believe he was, dude. I've seen that actor before. I could not tell you what in, but his portrayal is enough to make you think he's an asshole in real life, you know?
Yeah. One of my notes, too, before you actually got to the dinner or anything, was actually when he was meeting his mom and his sister, I put down, it was very strange to see so many nice people in one scene on Game of Thrones.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. Do you want to? I think they transitioned from there to before they went back for the dinner. They did transition to Tommen and the High Sparrow. Did you want to talk about that and then go back?
Oh,
they did break up the Sam and Gilly
I skipped ahead in my notes, didn't I? Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. The High Sparrow was before the dinner. It goes Sam, High Sparrow, and then Sam again.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I didn't have anything else on that section. I had Sam twice. I jumped ahead in my notes. The High Sparrow scene.
I had one note quickly for the Tommen and High Sparrow scene is when Marjorie basically has the reunion with Tommen. I loved Natalie Dormer, how she embraces him with the hug and she's smiling, and then she just drops that smile for a couple of seconds and it tells you all you need to know about her relationship with him. I thought it was really, really well done.
Yeah, no, I really like her. She's actually a really good actress.
Yeah, I like her. I'm glad to see she's popping up in more stuff outside of Game of Thrones because she's brilliant in everything I've seen her in.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. That whole scene, by the way, I could totally see where that was leading later, and I still facepalmed later when it happened.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll have plenty to say about that.
But yeah, back now to the dinner.
Yeah. Dude. When just the way he said not fat enough already.
Dude, how crazy was it that now I was critical of the writer before with the brand thing, but writing the joke that the Sam actor had from that fan, about how it was like, you're outside of the wall doing all of this shit, how are you still fat? He wrote that back into being a plot point of the show. I thought that was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude, that whole scene was pretty good. And then just the way he kind of shuts down when he starts going on about Gilly being a wildling. I could not tell if he was just going to shut down and sit there or if he was going to just fucking snap. Because the look in his eyes.
That was one of my notes too. His acting, while he was visibly shaking, was really, really good. Yeah. Because you couldn't tell where it was going to go, like you just said. You couldn't tell if he was going to go fucking stab his ass with that sword or, just sit there. And we always talk all the time about how good Game of Thrones is about having strong female leads. Everything Gilly says to that asshole dad was amazing.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Because,
finally seeing...
In most things, in most works of fiction like that, what's going to happen is the girl is the one being insulted, and the guy is going to stand up for the woman. Well, what happens is... And, I mean, Sam has as a reason for not standing up for her, but she tells him every fucking thing you want someone to tell him off with, Yeah. I like how, it's devastating how, she tells them, he's taking out a fucking White Walker, but they just don't believe him because no one believes they even exist. It was kind of sad that, the audience knows she's telling the truth, but why would they think she's, doing anything but lying? Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that moment, though, when you mentioned the Valerian steel, when they brought that up, I think I said out loud, holy shit. Because he was predestined, by birth to receive that sword, and he's already killed a White Walker without it. I mean, think about that for a second. So we would have 2 Night's Watchmen with a Valerian steel sword. Well, we would have. Someone's watch has ended.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Sam's going to end up being the king. It's everyone else kills each other, and it's Sam. He's all that's left.
Gilly just talks them all down, and then he goes and sits down on the Iron Throne.
Pretty much, yeah.
I liked her line. I liked her line, by the way, when he was apologizing for not standing up to her, and she said, "I'm not mad at you. I'm mad that there's people that can say those things and treat nice people that way." I thought that was a really cool line.
It also shows just how good of a dude Sam is. He's willing to take all that punishment just to keep her and the baby safe. Yeah. Because, he was already on, the very edge of getting them all exiled, basically. And he was willing to, give himself up to keep them safe. And then they basically show that the scene's about to end. And I thought the director and editor did a good job about how he walks out, and you think naturally the scene's done. I actually thought that was really well done, the way he kind of barges back in. He's like, fuck that shit.
Yeah, he barges back in fuck it mode. And he goes and steals the sword. That was fantastic. Let him try, I think was the line.
We do what?
I think the line was let him try or something like that.
That was one of my notes was this quote, because she's talking to him as he's going up, and he's, in true Sam fashion, awkwardly stealing the sword. Yeah. Awkward to a T. And he gets the sword down, and she's talking to him as he's doing it, and she's like, aren't they going to send people after you to get that back? And he's just like, he can bloody well try. Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, everything with Sam in this episode was definitely worth the wait.
I know, and I'm sure people are going to bitch about it because everyone seems to hate Sam and Gilly for some reason, but I like them.
I do too. I don't know if I like them just because of how much they're disliked. I mean, come on, guys. There's still a better love story than Twilight. I mean, come on.
Well, Tormund and fucking Brienne are a better love story than Twilight. But, yeah, I think... I think why I like them is because I think they were a good breaking of the pacing. Yes. Because everything else always seems to be so dour that I think it's kind of nice when they can occasionally have good Sam and Gilly moments. But yeah, did you have anything else to add with the whole Sam and Gilly thing?
Nope. I'm ready to move on to what I think you're ready to talk about.
Yeah, now we're going to move on to Arya. Probably the coolest setup of the episode, in my opinion, was all the Arya stuff. They go back. It starts
It's definitely
out with
the most nerve-wracking.
Yeah. They go back. She's back at another performance of the play. The play still fucking disturbs me, even though it's people even though it's the death of Joffrey and everyone hates Joffrey. Just the acting performance, and like also kudos to everyone who's acting in the play in the show.
Everyone who's acting in the acting.
Like I'm still disturbed every time they have those actors and actresses on, but one of my notes was just how sadistic Arya looked during the Joffrey death in the play.
Right.
You know, she's laughing the whole time.
She's the only one laughing.
Yeah.
The best part of the play, though, is that they pulled off a second fart joke this season when Tywin dies. Quote unquote Tywin.
It was so fucked up. It's like Tywin was just a complete asshole, but you're just like, oh my god, guys, that's fucked up.
And that's why everybody loves this show.
Basically.
It can make you feel for that asshole.
The play concludes, and as it's concluding, Arya sneaks backstage to poison the actress that she has been assigned with killing. I liked Macy Williams in the scene where she's, really, really internally fighting herself on whether or not she really wants to do this with the bottle.
How genius with the scene set up that it's sitting in front of a mirror, or at least a mirrored surface, while she's pouring it in, and you see from the perspective of like her hands, but you can still see her, which means she can see herself doing it. Like, I thought that setup was actually just, pretty, I guess deep would be the word. Yeah,
it's all the parallels with, like the Hall of Faces and stuff, and it's, you get to see, she's supposed to be a girl with no name, but the entire time she's looking at herself in the mirror doing it like, am I really this person, or am I still Arya who I'm looking at? Brilliantly done.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the writer or the director, a bit of both, but whoever had that idea,
or the DP or something,
everyone, or who had any involvement in that decision, it was very, very well done. And then as soon as they keep you on the fucking edge of your seat that whole time too, because the actress goes to like drink it like 2 or 3 different times.
Yeah, I know. Oh, and that is kind of cliche in like murder mystery movies or something, but it was still really well done the way they did it, because you honestly think she's about to take a swig every time. But yeah, and then the camera angle hides Arya coming back into the scene. You don't even know she's there until she swats the cup out of her hand. Yeah,
really well edited.
Yeah.
So she makes a decision to where basically like she is okay with killing people who in her mind deserves it. I think that's pretty much
right.
The whole takeaway is she has no problem killing someone if they deserve it.
We actually did skip one of my notes. I had in the quotation marks, do you like pretending to be other people?
That was great. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was brilliant.
They had a lot of really, really good parallels with all of the House of Black and White stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, at the end of the day, her moral compass wouldn't let her poison this lady, because she can't see any reason why this lady deserves to die.
Yeah, that was all great. The freaking bit roles that they get actors and actresses for, like, these people will probably only end up being in the show for a grand total of like 5 minutes. But I thought that actress who was playing the actress in the play that she was assigned to kill, I thought she was fantastic too,
I thought she was too. I don't know who she is or if she's even anybody. But
yeah, but man, they really are good about, they never in their mind have a throwaway role. Everyone has to be perfect at their job,
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that makes the show so good. So yeah, Arya rejects the House of Black and White, and then as soon as they transition away from her knocking the poison out of her hand, it's her, and I thought was a really, really cool shot where she's digging for needle.
Yes. Yeah, and then you have Jaqen and the chick that's been beating the snot out of Arya and loving it every second of it. That discussion as he's peeling the face off of the cadaver.
One of my notes, face special effect, not okay. Because this is like, dude, fucking Jack Bender, the director, fucking like 3 inches away from the face being peeled. I'm like, dude, I don't need to see this. Okay.
But they do it for a reason. You know, it wasn't just to, unnerve you, especially at how, like, okay Jaqen is with this moment. But if you remember, Jaqen said, either way, there will be a face added to the wall. So they're showing you what they're intending to do to Arya when they catch up with her, is why they're showing you that.
I know. I'm mostly a kid, but it was still fucked up to watch.
No, it was fucked up. And here's my exact notes that I have written down. Fuck. And then the next one is fuck. The next one's fuck. And the next one's fuck. And I have next to those fuck, needle, Jaqen, and a girl. Because that was the scene when she was walking out with that smile on her face to go after Arya.
Oh yeah, I had to do a little bit of searching, but the character name of the girl who is now being sent after Arya is Waif.
Yes. I see it somewhere, and I know that, but when it comes time to talk about her...
I had to look it up, too. Yeah.
Because, I mean, she has no name, right?
Arya is straight up fucking with the wrong people. I don't know if she fully understands the consequences that she has brought upon herself, because she should be, fucking pissing her pants right now because of who she's messing with.
Instead, she looks like she's ready to go to war.
Yeah, Man, I cannot wait to see what they do with the House of Black and White going after her. Because, like, here's a question, too. Throughout the episode, they kind of set it up like she isn't going to go through with it. But I thought before this episode, it was actually looking like she was going to go through with it. I thought it was a cool twist at the end that she ended up, rejecting the House of Black and White.
Yeah, no, I was completely taken aback by that. I probably should have seen it coming, but I didn't.
Yeah, they got us again. Yeah, the plot line of Jaqen sending Waif after Arya, I think is going to be amazing.
Yeah. And then that scene, the way that scene ends with her just blowing out the candle and the screen going black. Like, it's just like, really, guys? I wanted more. The rest of this episode should be Arya.
No kidding. Yeah. Was that all of your notes for that scene?
Yep. All the expletives in my notes were in that scene.
Yeah, it was definitely the best part of the episode was all the Arya stuff.
Yeah.
All right, from there we go to Jaime, and I can never fucking remember his name, but he's kind of like, I guess, like the Hand of the King kind of now. You know who I'm talking about? The guy who was leading the charge a little bit with Jaime.
Tyrell? No.
Yeah.
No, he's not Hand of the King. The other Lannister's Hand of the King.
Oh, that's right.
Tyrell's the keeper of the coin.
He's one of the council members, though, right?
Yeah, and he's the keeper of the coin. He took over Littlefinger's position as keeper of the coin. Because remember they sent him to the what's the banker dudes that everyone's afraid of? They sent him there for a while last season.
Oh,
or the season
over
before.
to the Bravos Bank.
Yes.
Thing. Yeah, so they transition over to Jaime and him. They're pretty much leading the charge to go and pretty much, rescue Marjorie from having to do the Cersei walk. And I like how that guy, we need to actually figure out his fucking name, but I like how he's basically trying to act in charge, and Jaime the whole time is just like about to facepalm, Yeah. He's just like, Jesus Christ, I'm stuck with this fucking guy.
This guy is why the old woman is basically in charge of the household.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. I did like the way that scene is done when they march in, because they immediately take over the scene, right? All the soldiers and everything. And part of like warfare at all back in like the time period this is all set in was a show, basically, just to like kind of make everyone think twice about fucking with you. And they actually did that really well, because the way they all marched in and just started like commanding the scene and everything, I don't know, it was just kind of scary looking to me. That many spears and that much armor. I don't know why anyone thought I don't know why anyone fought anyone back in those time periods.
Yeah, I don't know either. I wouldn't fight anyone now, even though we have like good means to fight people with.
Right.
But let's fucking talk about it. That little son of a bitch, dude. I might like Joffrey a little bit more than Tommen.
Right?
Just because
you need
Joffrey
a shower because you said that, but it's true.
Joffrey was a sadistic little SOB, and obviously I'm glad he's fucking dead. But at least, you know, he made his own goddamn decisions.
Yes.
Tommen is so fucking worthless that he is effectively... I mean, like, it was great, too. The reaction to the twist that Tommen has aligned himself with the High Sparrow and all of them... The reactions on both Jaime and Lady Tyrell were fantastic. Like they literally sum up all of the face palming that the audience is doing too.
Yeah. The best line in probably all of Game of Thrones that I have written down is, "What's happening?" Because that's kind of what the audience is thinking too. Like, you know what's happening, but you're still like, "What is happening?" And then she says, "He's beaten us." And then when it immediately cuts to the High Sparrow and the look on his face.
That son of a bitch is like... He's like 10 steps ahead of all the people who are usually 10 steps ahead.
He is basically the little finger of the Catholic Church. Like, seriously.
Yeah. How he has manipulated that entire situation is just baffling. And then, well, like, my literal note was, "God damn it, Tommen." Like,
yeah. I have Tommen facepalm in my notes.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about now. They go from there, from the stairs to Jaime getting banished. They cut immediately to Jaime. Another good edit where Jaime is taking off his armor. Tommen sitting on the throne. They had one of the...
It's important to note. It's important to note also that scene was very reminiscent of what was the night dude that exposed Jorah to Daenerys.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about, but we'd have to search his name.
It was he went down in that fight, him and Grey Worm, right? And that when he went down, not the two of them versus, but the two of them in the alleyway fighting for their lives. It was very reminiscent of that scene because remember he was just tearing off his armor when he quit. And then walked out of the room and stuff, and that's a lot what Jaime looked like. The way he was taking off his armor and angrily throwing it down, and all that. I had all kinds of flashbacks.
Yeah, and they had one of the best quotes of the episode to me, where Jaime's pretty much pleading with him. You know, like, "Why have you done this? Why have you turned your back on all of us?" And then Tommen says, "I have to answer to the gods." And then Jaime, fucking amazing quote, and he said, "Not when you're sitting in that chair."
Yeah. Now when you're sitting in that chair, you don't.
It honestly gave me a little bit of a flashback to fucking Nixon. You know, like where he's pretty much, you know, like, you know, if the president does it, it's not illegal. Like that's exactly how they all look at that throne.
Yeah, pretty much.
So brilliant. And the conclusion of that sequence is Jaime is pretty much taken off of the Kingsguard, and they are sending him to hunt down the Blackfish, who is one of the Tullys, I believe, right?
Yes.
He was a... Was the Blackfish, was that the brother of Catelyn Stark? Or like... I get the Tullys mixed up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I need some corkboard and some pins and some yarn to keep all this shit straight.
Yeah, or I might even be getting the last name mixed up. Calling out to any of the X-Force listening, you guys who actually should be doing the show, you are summoned to fix our errors.
I'm pretty sure they only listen to us to hear how wrong we get it.
Yeah, these sons of bitches are such noobs.
All of our hits are just ironic hits. That's all they are.
I wonder what they'll fuck up this episode. So they go from there to it's the first time we've seen Walder Frey in a couple of seasons.
Yes, I know. I was actually very shocked when it cut to him, and I loved all of his dialogue in this. He's just like, "What do you mean you've lost it? It's a castle. I presume you know where it still is."
It's not a sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of those two on the show where he's like the biggest piece of shit scumbag.
But you love him.
He owns it so hardcore that you can't help but kind of like the guy, you know, just because he owns being an asshole so much.
And then just when when you start liking him because he's the asshole, he like throws his arm around like the child wife or whatever, and you're just like, fuck you again.
And then when they have the reveal too, I had to go back and pull up subtitles to catch his name too because I didn't remember his name. But the Edmure guy. Yeah. He kind of reveals he's been the prisoner the whole time. I had completely forgotten about that dude.
I just assumed he was dead with everyone else.
I know, right?
Yeah, I was shocked.
I guess the one guy left who actually survived the Red Wedding, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Oh, that's right, because he goes off with as a newlywed, and he exits right before the Red Wedding murders happen, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Isn't that what happened down?
Yep.
Yeah, I'd completely forgotten about that character, and I think that's kind of interesting. You have any other notes about this? Any ideas about where they might lead with all that?
Nope. I don't know. I was too shocked that guy was still alive. I just assumed they went into the bedroom and killed him. You know, because no one walked away from the Red Wedding that you were aware of. So, yeah, which I still fucking hate Walder Frey for that.
Yeah, fucking Walder Frey. All I want to see is one of these Stark children kill Walder Frey. Any of them. I don't care who any of them can do it. I'll be happy. Yeah, they transition back to Jaime talking to Cersei. That's where they reveal that Jaime has been sent to hunt the Blackfish. I
liked this scene. There's a specific line in this scene I liked.
Why don't you go ahead and bring it up?
When Cersei says, it'll be a trial by combat, I have the mountain, brought me back to the Avengers with We Have a Hulk.
Right. So,
I will be sorely disappointed tomorrow if there are not We Have a Mountain memes out there.
I'm sure there already are tons somewhere. One of my notes was, okay, so Cersei obviously is going to have the trial by combat and will use the mountain. Who are the High Sparrow and co going to use as their champion? Any ideas?
That's actually an excellent question. I hadn't even thought about it. I'm trying to think. Do we even know anyone specific that they have?
I actually had a bit of an idea. I think eventually they are going to bring the Hound back in some way, shape, or form. And if the reveal of the Hound coming back is the High Sparrows that basically healed them up, and he'd want to fight his fucking brother even if he's a zombie.
Yeah.
So I think the Hound is either going to come back as the High Sparrows champion or in some way come back into the Arya storyline.
Yeah, I've been expecting him in the Arya storyline. I could see them doing that if they are the ones that saved him, but yeah, I have no clue.
He's the only person I could think of that maybe could have a shot at it, you know.
Yeah. Not
get
their head squished.
Backstory because obviously he wants to fucking murder his brother, so it's kind of cool. I think that's the route they went.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else to add with that scene?
Nope.
I did like Jaime talking to Cersei about how they're pissed off about the High Sparrow. One of his quotes is like, "He stole our son."
Yeah.
There's some deep stuff, with their their relationship to their son, who's being the biggest dipshit of all time. But it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. I'm really curious to see what they do with. So here's a question: does Tommen make it out of season 6 alive?
I honestly don't know.
I think it might not be this season, but I think within the next season and a half he'll be dead because in the flashback, who one of our fans pointed out, where they have the little clue about how all of her kids will die at some point.
Yeah,
I think she's right. I think Tommen will die. I just don't know when.
I figured he probably would just because Game of Thrones, but
Eventually, everyone will die.
Eventually, everyone dies. Horrible, horrible deaths. Yeah, I'm not. Originally, I thought he was going to make it through the season, but with the High Sparrow stuff, I'm going to say he's probably not going to make it through the season.
Who would be okay? The Baratheons actually have no more heirs after Tommen, do they?
They have one that we haven't seen in a while. He was a blacksmith. He's the bastard.
Oh yeah, well, they don't have any legitimate ones.
Yeah,
because the girl, the daughter is dead. Obviously, Joffrey's dead. If Tommen was dead, who actually gets the throne? It's an interesting question.
Would it fall to the Hand, which is another Lannister?
I don't know. I hadn't put notes down for that. I'm actually just now thinking of it. I'm not sure who would take the throne, but if they ended up killing Tommen, it would be an interesting storyline about exactly who takes over at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's going to make it through the season. I figured he was going to die.
I don't think he is either.
But with the High Sparrow stuff, yeah, I think something horrible is going to happen, as always.
Spoiler, something awful happened to someone in Game of Thrones.
Spoiler.
Yeah, we transitioned back to Bran after that. They officially have the reveal that it's Uncle Benjen. As I earlier stated, I actually thought it was a bit of a letdown the way the whole thing went down, because I didn't like figuring it out, 50 minutes before there was an actual reveal. I thought that could have been handled a little better.
It's funny because normally I'm right there on the same page with you on stuff, but I was just relieved to finally see him again. I didn't even think about it. The way that they did, the way that they went about it.
Pretty much like my criticisms on it. I mean, it's minor just because of how good the show is overall. The way I would have done it is I would have actually had the first scene with the first Bran sequence with him and Mira. I actually probably would have patterned it where he's having a little bit of reaction to Hodor dying at the very minimum. And not only that, but like he got the fucking three-eyed raven killed. It was all his fault. I would have liked some fallout, basically him talking to Mir about like him saying basically like do I even deserve to make it out of this alive type of thing. I'm not worthy of the three-eyed raven title. And then pretty much have like the beginning portion of the fight scene, but you never see his face at all. You never see Uncle Benjen's face. He comes in kind of, you start seeing the actions start going down, and then they cut away. And then you go back at the end of the episode, finish the fight scene, do the reveal that way. That way it's actually a complete surprise. Mm-hmm. I just thought that part could have been done better.
The way I would have done it is just the only change I would have made is at the end of the fight, he would have just taken his mask off then.
Totally. That works too. Because
I mean, he's gonna need them to want to come with him. So yeah.
I thought it was. I thought it could have been. I thought the reveal could have been done better. I'm also with you. I'm happy he's back. I just would have liked for a character to come back after that many seasons. I thought it should have been a bigger priority.
I got two things on that. One is, what exactly is he? He's not a White Walker, but most likely he's not alive either.
Yeah, because that's a good point we need to bring up. He reveals he was stabbed in the stomach by a White Walker blade.
Yes. And
the children saved him, and then they revealed that the way he was able to be saved was via the dragon glass.
Yes.
So, yeah, and they show his face. His face is like half fucked up. He's kind of like, he almost looks like a corpse almost.
Yeah, it's like he's in limbo between undead and not. Like, I don't know exactly what he is at this point. He seemed to be reacting to cold a little bit, so he can still feel.
Yeah.
So I don't know, unless he's just always cold because he was turning into a White Walker when they found him. I don't know exactly what he is. Because I mean, dude, if he is just as robust as the White Walkers are, like, he can have some fucking awesome fight scenes with them.
Even, I mean, you already saw one awesome one, so they can even do more than that. Like, I'm excited to see those.
The other point that it brings me up to is I only remember 2 substantial deaths in this whole series that you did not see the death happen. Benjen was one of them, and Stannis was the other one. I'm still thinking Stannis is out there somewhere.
I think Stannis is dead. The other one kind of is Tywin. There was a bit of a question on Tywin. Because if you remember, like...
we saw him. Did we not see his funeral?
Huh?
Did we not see his funeral?
No, I'm saying at the end of that season.
Because
we disagreed at the end of the season, you see him get shot. You were saying, no, we didn't see him die, so he's going to come back. And I was saying, no, I think since the end of the season, they're going to keep him dead. And we went that whole summer and winter before they came back with the show. And one of the first things they showed was him at the funeral.
Right, but
yeah,
that's my point, though. They eventually showed a funeral and stuff for him. They showed you the body. We never saw a body for Benjen. We never saw a body for Stannis.
The other one's the Hound that we just talked about.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Touche, good sir. But, yeah, the Hound, we all kind of know. There was no... I don't know. He could have died out there of his wounds, but the Benjen and Stannis, they allude directly to their death, but they don't... I don't know. There's no closure on it, and it's weird in a show like Game of Thrones where everybody dies in some terrible fashion, and they show you every face-peeling second of it. Like it's just. I still think he's out there somewhere. I don't know.
You still think Stannis is out there?
I still think Stannis is out there. She says that Brienne said she killed him, but I don't know if she did or not.
Yeah, I would probably be more with you if they hadn't shown one of his wounds was basically an arterial wound.
Yeah.
Like the entire snow around him was covered in blood. So unless he had one of like the Red Priestess healers or something, like it was looking pretty goddamn dour for Stannis.
And I had finally accepted his death, and then Benjen came back, and his death was just as ambiguous as Stannis's. So,
Benjen's was actually even more ambiguous because with Benjen it was just revealed he was lost, right? You never even really saw a fight go down with him.
Yeah, it was just his horse.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I think Stannis is dead. I think the Hound's coming back. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I've never really had a doubt that the Hound is coming back, but...
I guess we disagree on Stannis because I think he's dead.
Yeah, I was finally with you until this episode with Benjen. So,
well, then we should bring up too how brilliant and asshole-ish it was that part of the recap for the last season's finale. You remember was the Benjen thing?
Yeah.
So it leads you to believe, like at the end of it, oh, Benjen's back, and then they all fucking shank Snow. You're just like, you assholes. But yeah, was there anything else you wanted to add with the Benjen and Bran stuff?
Nope. No, that pretty much covers it.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I could add a little bit more. How I was talking about the fallout. I hope in the next episode or the next couple episodes we do eventually get the fallout from the Hodor thing, because I think that was way too important of an event to brush off the way they did it in this episode. That's my complaint.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll have to see.
Like I said, Bran had a lot. Like I said, Bran had a lot going on. So I don't know if that was just part of it, and they address it next time, or what.
I personally would have pushed back the Benjen thing, and then had some type of reaction to it. But that's me. Yeah, they finish up the episode with the Khaleesi stuff. My first note was, "Yay, Charizard's back." Because I don't care what they say, that fucking dragon's Charizard to me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. What notes did you have for the Khaleesi stuff?
Literally, the notes that I had was dragon.
Sunday.
Pretty much, because just the way they did the flyover, the way it was filmed and everything, it was just like totally in your face dragon. So that was the only note that I had for it. I liked that scene. Was like Khaleesi knows how to put on a show. Like she knows how to rally a group. But yeah. She is far and away, like it's not even funny how much more deserving she is of the throne than anyone else in the show. I know. But yeah, it was, and I love the irony, by the way, that she has basically taken over the Dothraki twice.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, she's finally getting her Dothraki army added to all the other frickin' armies that she has. And
we actually got talk of her getting boats for all of the people.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the big takeaway from that scene is that, she's been focused on so much stuff going on in Marine that it's kind of like taken over all of her priorities. But at the end of that scene, she basically just flat out tells the viewer that we are going for the Iron Throne. Like that is her next goal.
What I really want to have happen is, we've talked all the time about the Iron Islands, how Theon and his sister are going over there somewhere with the ships. What I want to have happen is I want Theon and his sister to go over there, partner up with Khaleesi, and then by the time they're partnered up and ready to go, they start going back to Westeros, right?
Uh-huh.
And at that point, douchebag Greyjoy has built up his fleet, and they have their fleet. They meet them head on. They're like, we're gonna fucking murder them. And then you just see Khaleesi's dragons pop up on the horizon, and then douchebag Greyjoy is just like, fuck. And they just get fucking decimated.
Yeah.
Because dude, what do you if you're a fleet like that? What are you gonna do against fucking dragons?
Seriously.
The dragons alone, even if Khaleesi's army and the Greyjoy people did nothing, the fucking 3 dragons alone could wipe out douchebag Greyjoy's entire fleet.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with that scene a while back when we had Arya and I forget his name, Baratheon's bastard that we mentioned earlier. He's like, what the hell is hot enough to melt stone? And she said dragon's fire or whatever. Yeah.
I can't wait. I want to see Charizard whipping some ass again, dude.
I know.
Those special effects on him were the best they've done, too. Like, at the end of this episode, I thought that dragon looked amazing.
Yeah, and they did the Rain of Fire thing. He has the 2 things on the side.
I noticed that, too. Since you pointed out to me from Rain of Fire, I noticed that, too. I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. Ron's going to dig that little detail.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, Charizard's gone full circle, just like he did for Ash. He's back from the island of Charizards. Yeah.
I think my last note was just that Khaleesi is pure boss. That's really all you can say about her.
That's pretty much her goal.
Man, I'm worried, though. Like, they have made her into such a pimp again that I could see fucking George R. R. Martin be like, as soon as they get over there with her gigantic-ass army, she is like the first person to die.
Yeah.
Just as that final, what the fuck.
I've been wondering about that.
Yeah. Because, she's like the one person, even in Game of Thrones, that you kind of think might be sort of kind of safe. So I think that's why I'm worried.
Yeah. And when you pointed out, how she's pretty much the only person that's really deserving of it, that's kind of what leads me to believe that something horrible might happen to her.
What I think is going to happen is they're going to get over to
Charizard
Westeros.
eats her.
Do what?
Charizard eats her.
Wah, wah. Yeah, what I think is I think one or two things are going to happen. Khaleesi is going to get her whole fucking army over there, and she is somehow going to die. Or they're going to be in the midst of their battle for the throne, and that's when the White Walker invasion happens. And the irony behind the show and the books is that they've been fighting the Game of Thrones the entire time, and no one ended up winning because they realized we had more important shit to worry about. I think that could be part of the ending for it. Yeah. Did you have any notes you want to bring back up from this episode, though, before we sign out?
Nope, that was all I had.
Yeah, it was a good episode. The 9.9 or whatever the fucking IMDb it has is a little overkill, guys. So maybe tone down the 10s.
Seriously.
Last week's was a 10. This one, not a 10.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah.
Maybe an 8.
Yeah. 8.5.
Yeah.
Just because it's Game of Thrones and it's better than everything else.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And 8 is mediocre for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, this episode, which would be the best episode of any other television show outside of Better Call Saul. And we were like, meh. It's okay, I guess. It's an 8. Fucking missed opportunities, guys. Jeff's bitching about your show. But yeah, if you would like to check us out more, and why not? Why not become a member of the X-Force? All, like, 15 of us now.
Pretty much.
Yeah, please like and subscribe. It gets you all of our content. We provide not only Tonight's Watch every Sunday night, but also Let's Plays, commentaries, and our weekly podcast of the Week in Geek News. In addition to that, we also have Facebook and Twitter links in the description if you're interested in those.
Which nobody uses.
I can't blame them.
I don't either.
We would really, really appreciate the share if you know anyone else that might also enjoy our show. And for this night and all the nights to come, I am Geoff.
And I am Ron, and now this watch is ended.